Viewers, of course, the biggest story today, the national talking point comes from Tamil Nadu. Viewers, corruption is a cancer. It has beset our great nation from the day it became independent. No regime has been free of this scourge. The reason I'm calling it a scourge is because it has a massively debilitating impact on the psyche of the public. We work hard, you, myself, to earn our living. We pay our taxes. We hope that these taxes will be utilized to improve the quality of our lives. We bank our savings. We hope that those savings we will spend at a later date, viewers, to consume, to prop the economy, to allow for the creation of jobs. We do this all our lives. But when people loot that money and keep it all for themselves, they're ensuring that millions of Indians are held back, that millions of Indians will not get a good life full of opportunities. Well, viewers, looting is one type of corruption. Looting savings, looting taxes is one type of corruption. But there is another kind, still worse. A minister in the Tamil Nadu government stands accused. I'm not saying he's convicted. He stands accused of this brand of corruption. I'll explain. Tamil Nadu's Power Minister Senthil Balaji has been under the lens of the Enforcement Directorate. He may be in DMK now, but he was earlier in the AIADMK when he allegedly took money from aspirants wanting a government job in the transport department. And these were not, viewers, very wealthy or supremely educated people. They were, viewers, looking for blue-collar work. They were looking to get ahead, put their children through school in the hope that their children won't have to do blue-collar work, living hand to mouth, making ends meet. Now, if these allegations are true, this minister's brand of corruption, i.e., taking kickbacks to give jobs, risks being, and I'm underlining the word because he is not convicted, it risks being the most venal variety, as this corruption kills hope, it kills enterprise, it kills aspiration and dreams. Anyway, today, after multiple raids and intense 18-hour grilling by the central agency, Senthil Balaji, the DMK minister, was arrested on charges of money laundering and corruption. But that's when the high drama began. Senthil could be seen breaking down, clutching his chest, and crying in pain as he was being taken by the ED. Watch this sequence. Senthil Balaji may be clutching his heart, but his mind is working, and his mind has prompted him, viewers, to seek bail. The order is still reserved for tomorrow. The Enforcement Directorate says that he should not be given bail because he may destroy evidence or influence witnesses if he's out in the public domain. The ED also points out that close to 1.5 crores were found in the bank accounts of this minister and his wife, which are disproportionate to their known sources of income. Now, these are all allegations, viewers. But the cash stash aside and grave charges aside, Chief Minister MK Stalin and 15 of his colleagues in cabinet rushed to the hospital in a show of solidarity to meet Senthil, alleging that he was in this state because he had to suffer hardship, pressures, and intimidation by the BJP-led Enforcement Directorate. That's the link that they have drawn. They allege that this is BJP's brazen attempt to crush the opposition with false cases. Viewers, the BJP is quick to point out that Stalin himself, the Chief Minister today, when he was in the opposition in 2016, when Senthil Balaji was in the AIADMK, called this same Senthil Balaji, quote, corrupt looter, unquote. Corrupt looter. So viewers, once he joined the DMK in 2018, his graft taint miraculously disappeared. Now, what is the word they use when similarly tainted members join the BJP? They say, oh, BJP is a whitewashing machine, right? Washing machine. Everyone, like, one famous washing powder comes out much cleaner, looking really bright. Now, viewers, this is the same thing. Mr. Balaji was corrupt for the Chief Minister, Mr. Stalin, when he was in the opposition. The moment he migrates to his own party, he's clean as a whistle. Yes, in 2023, the DMK vehemently defends this same minister as a victim of vendetta politics. Now, they'll tell you, viewers, that something happened. He was given a clean chit by the High Court. That clean chit also, viewers, has been called into question, not by Rahul Shivshankar or the BJP or the ED, but by the Supreme Court. We'll come to that in a little while. But first, listen. First, listen to Chief Minister Stalin when he stood up and said that this man was a looter. Listen to this.
போக்குவரத்து துறையினுடைய அமைச்சராக இருந்து அந்த துறையில நடத்துனர் பணிக்கு 3 லட்சம், மெக்கானிக் பணிக்கு 6 லட்சம் என்று கொடுத்து ஏமாந்திருக்கக்கூடியவர்கள் லட்சக்கணக்கானோர். இது குறித்து 48 பேர் புகாரும் கொடுத்திருக்கிறாங்க. ஆள் கடத்தல் புகாருக்கு உள்ளான அவருக்கு இப்போது தேர்தலில் போட்டியிட, அது வேறு ஒரு தொகுதியிலே போட்டியிட அவருக்கு வாய்ப்பு கிடைச்சிருக்கு.
Now, viewers, we are constantly told that DMK is a cadre-based disciplined party, and so, viewers, whatever Mr. Stalin said was echoed religiously down to the last dot by all his other ministers, his colleagues in his party and in his government. Listen to this.
அப்செக்ஷன் இருக்காரு, நல்லா இருக்காரு. இந்த உருட்டல் மிரட்டலாம் நாங்க அஞ்ச மாட்டோம். சட்டப்படி சந்திப்போம்.
This is only the act of the revenge by the union government. You know it. Only அரசின் revengeful activity is this. The only அரசு union government is doing so many wrong things against the states where there is no BJP government.
Procedure adopted by the ED is totally illegal and unconstitutional.
It's a very cowardly act, and he will come out clean, and our Chief Minister is also standing steadfastly.
Now, viewers, let me tell you, he's not just a poster boy that the DMK has discovered amongst its ranks, but also for the rest of the opposition that is quickly galvanized around this one arrest and come out in support. So you have Mamata Banerjee, Mallikarjun Kharge, tallest leaders in our country, Raghav Chadda, member of the Aam Aadmi Party and member of Parliament, Sanjay Raut of the Shiv Sena Uddhav faction, who's also a member of Parliament. All these members of Parliament have come out and completely supported this gentleman, saying that he is actually a victim of the most venal attempt at crushing the voice of dissent or the opposition. So we ask, is there a credible reason to allege that Senthil Balaji is a victim of vendetta, as the opposition is claiming? Now, here are some hard facts that suggest that, viewers, this claim may not be entirely tenable. Now, you can talk about the selectivity of the Enforcement Directorate, etc., but when you're handing out a clean chit, you have to look at the facts. And on this show, viewers, the facts are always presented objectively to you, so you get closer to the truth. October 2015, the first complaint against a conductor is filed for cash for job scam. But viewers, the lapse was that it did not implicate then Minister Balaji. In March 2016, a second complaint against two aides of Balaji for cash for job is filed. Due to police inaction, victim was forced to move the High Court. Nothing really happened on this second big complaint. In 2016, the High Court ordered the police to widen the probe to a ministerial level. So the High Court thought that there was enough there to actually look at whether the minister himself was involved. The police files the report, excludes the minister and his relatives. Fair enough, maybe the police did a great job. The Prevention of Corruption Act charge is omitted, diluting the case further. In 2018, the Transport Department employees complaint against Mr. Balaji is filed. Now, this person claims that Balaji asked him to collect rupees 95 lakhs from a bunch of aspirants. Here, viewers, the lapse is that the case filed but again omitted grave corruption charge. So the grave corruption charge was omitted. No mention of the fact that Balaji had asked somebody to collect 95 lakhs from aspirants who wanted a job. In 2019, a fresh complaint of bribe is being paid to Balaji's PA. Yes, viewers, this is the claim. The case is filed, but again omitted corruption charge. So again, the corruption charge somehow is not included. Why, viewers? We're still trying to get answers on this very, very important question. In 2021, Balaji's aides Shanmugam and Saharajan tried to quash the case. They claimed a compromise with victims and the return of money. So money was given back. They say now we've compromised, no one has a problem. The HC dismissed the case based on this compromise. In 2021, the case dismissal based on compromise is challenged, viewers, in the Supreme Court. In the Supreme Court. Here is a lapse. The Supreme Court then questioned the failure of adding charges under PCA from 2015 to 2021. They say this is an out and out corruption case. How can you not be adding that charge? The Supreme Court also said there's a compromise of justice, fair play, criminal jurisprudence. These are the words of the Supreme Court. I told you, viewers, the gentleman is back in the eye of the storm, and it is Supreme Court who believes that there is a case. In fact, the Enforcement Directorate has leaned on the Apex Court's 2022 verdict, which justified the ED probe on Senthil under the PMLA Act. And this is what the Supreme Court said. Public servant receiving illegal gratification is in possession of proceeds of crime. Illegal gratification that they have taken represents proceeds of crime. Not impressed with the contention that the ED probe was triggered without any jurisdictional facts. Charges in FIR point out to involvement of persons in criminal activity. FIR points to laundering of proceeds of crime within meaning of Section 3. To say that Enforcement Directorate should have adopted an ostrich-like approach is something unheard of, viewers. Here is the Supreme Court, the highest authority in our land. So let's open this up, viewers, and figure out from some of the opposition parties why they still think that Mr. Senthil is a victim of vendetta. And I want to begin with the DMK. I apologize to you, viewers, for keeping you away from this exalted panel of experts. I wanted to give you a complete run of the facts. Now, let me ask Mr. Sivasenapathy of the DMK. So this is the Supreme Court's observations recorded in a written order that I have read out to you. How can you say, sir, that Senthil is the victim of BJP vendetta when the Supreme Court itself is saying that the Enforcement Directorate must probe this gentleman? And also I want to ask you, sir, sub-question, Why was Mr. Stalin so convinced that Senthil ji was corrupt when he was with J. Jayalalitha and not when he is with him? Can you explain?
Yeah. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
So the first thing is we have no disputes with the Honorable Supreme Court's observations or orders, which has to be followed to the letter of the law. There's no doubt about it. But the Honorable Supreme Court gave a mandate to the Enforcement Directorate to investigate and not to harass people. We have been seeing from 2004, I have the data of the Enforcement Directorate with me in my hands. From 2004 to 2014, there were 112 Enforcement Directorate raids or searches or cases. But since the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, took over, from 2014 to 2022, we have had 3,010 cases, out of which 24 is against the Congress, 19 against the TMC, 11 against the NCP, 8 against Shiv Sena, 6 against BJD, 6 DMK, RJD 5, BSP 5, SP, Samajwadi Party 5, TDP 5, Aam Aadmi Party 3, INLD 3, YSRCP in Andhra 3, CPIM 2, TRS 1. So this clearly shows the vindictive nature of the government of India against opposition parties when the BJP government is in the failure mode. We have seen the election results in Karnataka, how BJP has miserably failed. It's going to fail in Madhya Pradesh, and that's going to reflect in the coming 2024 elections. And the DMK is a very important part in the nation in forming a non-BJP government. It's working on finding an alternative to the BJP along with the Congress and all the state parties.
Okay, so I've given you a lot of time, sir, to make your case. Now you're going into the realm of rhetoric. You still haven't answered the basic question. When you said that the ED is guilty of harassment, now the Supreme Court says, please probe this individual. How do you think they should probe him? Should they put him on a bed of roses? Should they buy him some nice 5-star meals? Should they gently ask him, sir, is it true? And please take your time to answer. We are in no hurry. No, how would you want, what I'm not understanding. Would you want the gentlemen of the Enforcement Directorate to book a nice 5-star resort and perhaps the jacuzzi, so you can sit down and you can have a nice, comfortable interrogation with a little bit of caviar on the side? What would you like? Can you explain, sir? What do you mean harassment? If the Supreme Court says that this man needs to be investigated for the following reasons, because the public servant receiving illegal gratification is possession of proceeds of crime. Illegal gratification that they have taken represents proceeds of crime. Not impressed with contention that ED probe was triggered without any jurisdictional facts. Now, how should the ED approach this gentleman who, in their eyes, has looted the public, and that too poor people?
Yeah, I think you have done with the question, so let me answer. When the Honorable Supreme Court said the ED can investigate, that does not mean somebody is convicted. The media cannot run a trial and convict somebody, point number one. Point number
You're not
two,
still answering my question. Mr. Sivasenapathy, can you explain how? No, let me know. You made a charge against the media. Can you explain how is Times Now running a campaign and holding a trial?
I'm talking about Times Now.
No, I'm talking about Times Now. I don't care about the rest of the media. It doesn't exist for me, sir. I'm talking about Times Now. Please qualify.
See, you ask a question. You should let us speak.
You make a charge, sir, unfounded charge about the media running a trial, especially, I suppose.
You have done enough now. You have charged enough. You have quoted the Honorable Supreme Court's observations. It is not a judgment stating somebody is corrupt. And the Enforcement Directorate's mandate is to investigate, file an FIR, file a charge sheet, arrest somebody at proper hours. The Supreme Court has given clear guidelines on how somebody should be arrested. They shouldn't go into homes of people at 2 o'clock in the night, harass people, pluck the mobile phones of the children, minor children at the home, and check their mobile phones. What is this?
Now, let me tell you, viewers, these same arguments were used. These same arguments were used.
Police
one second.
Harassing people and not the duty.
Fair enough. So people should not.
In a nation.
So there should be no raids.
Free and fair democracy.
Okay. So there should be no raids.
What is expected?
No, one second. On the point.
Enough ED cases.
Okay, sir.
Closed. After they joined the BJP, like you said, the washing machine syndrome.
Like your washing machine is now working. Is it a Bosch washing machine or is it some other washing machine?
No, it can be Bosch or Whirlpool.
Okay. So let me tell you, viewers. Gentlemen of the DMK said.
Washing machines to be
gentlemen of the DMK said
what we are discussing or debating.
Okay, fair enough, sir. I understand your point. You made some very valid points, except, sir, they're invalid on facts. So let me just come back to facts.
The harassment meted out to political opponents
of
viewers, ruling BJP.
So viewers, tonight, the DMK is most upset. Okay.
How the Enforcement Directorate is being misused to harass people.
Okay, I understand.
The basic tenets of democracy and principles of federalism enshrined in our constitution.
Okay,
India
so what basically...
And the state governments or opposition parties cannot be taken for granted, harassed, just because we have a difference of political opinion and an ideological opinion with the BJP.
Okay, so now viewers, let me also, on this point, where the very erudite spokesperson of the DMK has pointed out that the ED acts very one-sidedly. Now, this was also raised in the Supreme Court, and Justice Chandrachud said the following things in his oral observations. The Chief Justice added, and quote, "The problem with this petition is that you are trying to extrapolate statistics into guidelines where the statistics only apply to politicians. But we cannot have guidelines exclusively for politicians." He added, quote, "Political leaders stand absolutely on the same standing as the citizens of the country. They do not claim a higher immunity. How can there be a different set of procedures for them?" Unquote. The Chief Justice also said that the top court could not lay down abstract guidelines. Come back with one or more cases where there have been a specific instance or instances of the agencies being used to selectively target leaders. On the basis of the law that we have laid down, we can evolve general principles with respect to the facts of the case, unquote. It would be dangerous, said the Chief Justice, to attempt to formulate general guidelines in the absence of such specific facts. And Dr. Abhishek Manu Singhvi withdrew his plea. This is what happened, viewers. Now, this matter of how, oh my God, we politicians are being doubly pressured, pulverized, etc., has been addressed by the Supreme Court. Now, viewers, no one minds when the Aam Aadmi people jump into your house, they question you, they take you away. No one says, and true, no opposition parties get together, viewers, for you and I. But for themselves, viewers, it's a different set of laws, which even the Supreme Court has observed. This is not Rahul Shivshankar speaking. So let me open this up. There are three things that remain unanswered. The DMK hasn't explained why their boss thought that this gentleman, Mr. Senthil, was corrupt. He's used those words, not I. When he was in AIADMK and when he came into DMK, how he got whitewashed. No answer to that question. Mr. Senapathy refuses to give that answer. The second, viewers, he has a problem with the manner in which the ED has approached this. Clearly suggesting that this DMK minister should have been treated like a VVIP, perhaps. He says that they should file a charge sheet, they should file an FIR. But viewers, what he doesn't say is that you can only do that when you examine or question someone, arrest them, interrogate them, etc. So that part is skipped. That's also very interesting. And then there is talk about selective focus, which the Supreme Court itself has addressed. I don't need to say very much more. Though I have a problem, because the BJP has taken in corrupt politicians from across the aisle and done exactly what perhaps the DMK is today guilty of. But that's a different debate. We can come to that. Someone might raise it and they're within their rights to raise it. The BJP will have to answer. Sanju Verma, quick response to what the DMK spokesperson is saying, that while the Supreme Court is right, that while the gentleman should be probed, the probe should be done in a manner that is concomitant with the procedure, which you haven't followed.
You know, Rahul, we are 20 minutes into the debate, and I don't expect you to extend me the long monologue that the DMK panelist indulged in. I will make some very pertinent points and very succinctly at that. First and foremost, let's stick to the present case rather than generalizing this entire issue. Though the general issues, I will spend 30 seconds on that as well. This particular case pertaining to cash for jobs, I think the most important thing to be noted here is that last September, on the 8th of September 2022, the Supreme Court unequivocally and very categorically restored the criminal proceedings against Senthil Balaji, his brother Ashok Balaji, his aide Shanmugam and several others, revoking an earlier verdict by the Madras High Court, which had actually quashed criminal proceedings because there was some kind of burying the hatchet between the different stakeholders, the accused and the victims. So point number one, the Supreme Court restored criminal proceedings against the key accused Senthil Balaji way back on the 8th of September 2022, point number one. Point number two, despite the criminal case being restored, look at the audacity of the police force, which obviously finally reports into MK Stalin, who's the head of the cabinet, the chief minister, the de facto home minister. The police did not restore the criminal proceedings against the accused Senthil Balaji in this case. It is then that the ED swung into action, and as recently as 16th May 2023, mind you, as recently as 16th May 2023, while giving the ED a clean sheet to go ahead and investigate the criminal proceedings against Senthil Balaji, which had been quashed by the Madras High Court. I will take 10 seconds to tell you, Rahul, what the Supreme Court said. The ED will now be entitled to proceed further from the stage at which the impunged order tied their hands. Once a piece of information relating to the acquisition of huge amount of illegal gratification in the matter of public employment has come into the public domain, it is the duty of the Enforcement Directorate to register an information report and conduct the due investigation under the due process of law. So my question to the DMK panelist here is, not once, but twice, the Supreme Court has called out the bluff of MK Stalin, the bluff of Senthil Balaji, the bluff of the police constabulary, which reports into MK Stalin. And I will add one more thing. You know, I'm tired of listening to this inane argument. Oh, but the Enforcement Directorate's track record is less than 0.5%. So Rahul, please bear with me for 30 seconds more. You quoted Abhishek Manu Singhvi and what Justice Chandrachud said in that historic judgment as recently as 5th April 2023. Please bear with me. You gave so much time to the DMK. Abhishek Manu Singhvi made a very important statement. He said when the UPA was in power, in 10 years, out of 72 cases that were probed by the CBI and ED, only 43 featured opposition leaders, including BJP, which means only 59.7% of the cases featured opposition leaders, whereas now 95% of the cases target opposition leaders, including the Congress, to which Justice Chandrachud said, what are you trying to achieve by quoting these statistics? Are you trying to suggest by quoting these statistics that some politicians should be given immunity from
I have already made that point. So you have raised...
And my last point, Rahul, please bear with me.
There are others also waiting. Yes. Quickly.
I came
10
20
seconds
minutes into the debate.
10 seconds.
Yes.
10 seconds.
My last point is this. It's not only the April 5th, 2023 judgment where the Supreme Court called out the bluff of the Congress, TMC, DMK, etc., but even on the 27th of July 2022, there was a historic verdict by the Supreme Court which clearly said that the Enforcement Directorate can conduct
Yeah, I made that point. I made that point. So basically you're saying the Supreme Court has given us the right to go ahead and conduct this probe. Now let me bring in the TMC. Okay, let me bring in the TMC and Dr. Anand Ranganathan, Sushmita Dev, Member of Parliament, National Spokesperson of the TMC there with us. Dr. Ranganathan has raised his hand once. Dr. Ranganathan, as a member of the public, very quick intervention, and I want to bring in Sushmita Devji right after that to take up this debate from the opposition perspective. Dr. Ranganathan.
Good evening, Rahul. Before I come to the thrust of my thesis, which would take probably a couple of minutes, maybe a little bit more than that, can I, through your auspices, ask the wonderful and erudite spokesperson of DMK, Mr. Senapathy, one small question?
Yeah, of course, Sivasenapathy, yes, you can ask.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Senapathy. Just a simple yes and no question. Do you agree with Thiru CM Stalin that Mr. Balaji was a corrupt man and a looter? Yes or no?
I can't hear you. Can you be louder, please?
He's asking you.
Do you agree with Chief Minister Stalin that Mr. Balaji was corrupt and a looter? Yes or no?
Do you agree with Mr. Amit Shah's statement that AIADMK is a corrupt party?
I asked you a question. I will answer your question later. Can you?
And,
you are not
going
to answer my question.
Okay.
You are not going to answer my question.
So are we saying, Mr. Sivasenapathy?
Chief said you are a member of the public. You are not a member of the public. You are a supporter of right-wing politics.
Oh, really?
You are a supporter of Hindutva BJP politics. So you better please call yourself a BJP supporter rather calling yourself.
Let me hang on. Just a minute. Mr. Sivasenapathy.
Why are you so rattled?
No, one second. Dr. Ranganathan, I just want to make it very clear. Even if he was a supporter of an ideology, does that not make him a member of the public?
No, why do you hide behind it then?
So why should he be hiding behind anything, sir? Do we ask you what is your ideology? A member of the public can have an ideology. That doesn't mean that he's going to support the BJP till kingdom come. Sorry. I'm sorry, sir. Now you are being... Now, hang on. He never hit you below the belt. Mr. Sivasenapathy, you attack the media. You attack panelists in the media. You don't have an answer, so you hit them under the belt. That's very unfair. Very, very unfair. Very unfair. Dr. Ranganathan.
You asked him a question. He came to me.
Dr. Ranganathan.
I asked him a question.
No, you didn't ask him. You didn't answer his question. You asked him a rhetorical question, then you attacked him, which is very wrong. You can attack Dr. Ranganathan, but Dr. Ranganathan, go ahead. Please make your point. Sushmita Dev is waiting.
For the record, the DMK spokesperson was quivering in his dhoti when I asked him a simple question, whether he agrees with Chief Minister and his leader, the Supremo Stalin, that Balaji was corrupt and a looter. He refused to agree with Chief Minister Stalin, for the record. Right. Now, let me come to the thrust of my topic. Rahul, first of all, I wish Mr. Balaji the best of health. Thank God for the ED raid that his impending heart condition was found out. In fact, I wish 2 years ago I had been raided by ED, then my myocardial infarction would have been spotted earlier than it was. But to be serious,
bad taste.
But Dr. Ranganathan, let's not, let's just set that aside.
That's a horrible thing to say.
Let's just set that aside, please. Yeah. Go ahead, Dr. Ranganathan. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what is it that you find horrible in there? I know sense of humor is not for everyone. What is it that you find horrible?
No, don't laugh at people's health issues. Don't do it.
I have suffered a myocardial infarction. That is what I'm saying.
Well said, ma'am.
No, if you don't have sense of humor is not for everyone. But stop interrupting.
Okay. Let's bring this debate back to where it should be on the issues. Let's not. Okay. Anyhow, look, a head problem. Whether let's not trivialize. Let's go straight into the debate. Come on, Dr. Ranganathan. Let's bring it back, please.
Yeah, absolutely. These turncoats from Congress.
It doesn't matter. They could be anybody. Let's get back into the game, please. Into the debate, please. I don't want this personal recrimination, making comments about people, this, that, forget it. Please, let's just remove that from the equation.
Foolish.
Let's get back in, please. Thank you.
Yes. Can you mute this ex-Congress?
Don't worry, just get on with it, sir. No one is going to interrupt you. Please, make your point.
Yeah.
Ms. Dev is waiting. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I want to say is, don't you find it revealing as to why the opposition doesn't petition Supreme Court to make our investigative agencies independent? Because they also want to use them as parrots when they come to power. Look, it is not a question of misusing the investigative agencies. The conviction rate of CBI is 70%. And the ED conviction rate is 96% for PMLA cases. So we can't say they aren't doing their job of nabbing the corrupt. That is being used properly. Rahul, it's a question of using them selectively. 95% of those politicians who have been raided in the last years are non-BJP politicians. And because of which the tragedy is that every CBI or ED raid carries the baggage of being politically motivated, even if it is not. Because one, the investigative agencies are not apolitical or independent. They remain parrots. And when you domesticate a parrot, it finds its favorite shoulder. And right now the shoulder is of Modi. And number two, if the raided are politicians, they simply join the BJP from Goa to Manipur to Bengal to Karnataka. Every single politician when in trouble has dipped himself into this Bahti Ganga, that is the BJP. And then miraculously, all leads go cold. All investigations come to a dead end. Remember Mukul Roy and how the investigation on him went cold when he joined the BJP. They have restarted after he has returned to the TMC. And remember, BJP's GVL Narasimha Rao, he had demanded an ED raid, wrote to Rajya Sabha Ethics Committee alleging involvement of TDP's Vyas Chaudhary in court, massive financial bungling and fraud of 5,700 crores. And sought his disqualification of court, serious breach of ethics, unquote. Well, before the Rajya Sabha could act, Mr. Chaudhary joined the BJP, forcing Mr. Rao to eat the humble pie. That the CBI, IT, ED agencies are the most potent weapon in a politician's hand is not conspiratorial cynicism, Rahul, but a statement based on precedents. Remember, it was the BJP that staged a nationwide protest in 2010 crying the UPA was misusing CBI to blackmail opposition leaders. In 2013, Mr. Jaitley complained to PM Manmohan Singh that the CBI was being misused to frame Modi. So according to the BJP, the investigative agencies were being misused by the Congress, but they aren't being misused by the BJP now. Remember in 2008, when the left withdrew its support to the UPA, CBI withdrew its case against Mulayam Singh, who then supported the UPA. A year later, they promptly readmit the case, just 30 seconds, on 30th April 2013. The late Arun Jaitley gave a brilliant and detailed submission to the Rajya Sabha Select Committee on why and how the CBI and other investigative agencies should be made independent. One of the reforms he suggested was CBI should be controlled not by the government but by Lokpal. BJP is now ignoring its tallest leader. Now just 10 seconds. The incontrovertible fact is that in this country, now you see earlier DMK was interrupting me.
One second, please. Sanju Verma, give me 30 seconds, please.
Mr. Ranganathan is doing classic monkey balancing.
Let him do whatever he wants to do.
He is doing classic monkey balancing.
Let him, he must be doing a good job. One second, Sanju Verma. I'm going to have to listen, please. I'm going to have to lower your fader. Please, ma'am, I'm going to have to lower your fader because I will give you an opportunity to rebut him. Can you let him finish? Isn't that the civilized thing to be doing? It doesn't matter. He's only just started. You also got a bit 5 minutes. So did. Well, please, let's not. I never pushed you into stopping what you were saying. You finished your point. Let him finish.
The debate is not BJP today.
Okay. No. Let me decide where this debate is going to be. Okay. Sanju Verma. I am counting till 3, please. Please, let him finish his point. Okay? Do us that favor. Yes, Dr. Ranganathan, finish your point.
Tonight, I don't know why tonight.
Just go on with your point. I don't have all the time in the world. Please make your point. Thank you.
I don't know why all the turncoats are against me tonight, a common man.
Okay. Go ahead. Finish your point.
Now? Can I finish my point?
Yeah, finish your point, please.
Yes, so I was saying, why is it that the BJP is ignoring its own tallest leader, Arun Jaitley, who said the CBI and other investigative agencies should be made autonomous? And this lady was an AAP.
Okay.
There was an ED
now, viewers, let me just step in here. So, Dr. Ranganathan, great that you have taken the bait of Mr. Sivasenapathy and responded by suggesting that the BJP is doing whatever. It's good. I'm glad that you at least proven him wrong. You are an independent voice. I think that has been proven by Dr. Ranganathan tonight. And Sivasenapathy is smiling. Now, I'm asking you a simple question. All that is fine. Dr. Ranganathan, how does it add up to the case against this gentleman that we are discussing? In one line, please. All this background is great. We all know it. As far as I'm concerned, it's a bit of noise. Sorry to say this. Because how does it come back to the charge that Senthil is a victim of vendetta? Simple.
Yes, as I said, it is no one's grouse that the ED has raided Mr. Balaji. No one's grouse.
Okay.
Because the Supreme Court.
So let's come back to
it.
We can
But
all
the
do
fact
our
remains that the
dissertations. We can
opposition
have
is
a
also
debate
correct.
on the ED,
No, the
etc.
opposition is right that the ED is being used selectively. I gave you the data.
That is
It
fine.
your data, Rahul.
That is fine. That
So let's have a composite
I've already
debate.
conceded that point before
I
we
hope
began.
you're not ignoring your own data.
I'm
Please
not,
don't ignore
doctor.
your own data.
I cited my own data as I began this
Yeah.
debate, which has gone completely off the rails. My question was, today the charge has been made that, and by not one party, by all parties, that
Yes,
this
ED
is
selective.
persecution.
Yes.
Now you can
ED
say,
is being selective.
now you can say that for every...
Are you ignoring Rahul Shivshankar's data? That 95% of politicians that have been raided in the last 8 years are non-BJP politicians. Is that Rahul Shivshankar's case? Is Rahul Shankar lying?
On the Manish Sisodia case. The Supreme Court has spoken on the Anupratta Mandal case.
Okay.
The Supreme
Viewers,
Court
we've had a situation on this debate tonight. We've had a situation...
Stop your monkey balancing.
We have a situation where I began by saying, viewers... One second. My fault. I began by saying, viewers, tonight, I began by saying, and Ms. Deb, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting this long. I'm not completely at fault here, as you can realize. There are a large number of speakers who were cross-talking, and we've eaten up a lot of time. I had another debate to also do. I'm afraid I'll just have to make a passing reference to that. But it's my fault, viewers, because I began by saying that corruption cuts across all regimes in this country. But tonight we were having a focused debate. We've debated this business about the ED, this, that, the other. And you can say that, okay, the ED comes in with baggage. I can even concede that point. But when we look at facts and we look at this investigation, is it tenable or untenable? That is the fundamental point we're asking. And I have cited the Supreme Court to suggest that there is prima facie a reason for this individual to be investigated. Selectively, unselectively, doesn't matter. So Sushmita Dev, in this particular case, if you were to look at it in isolation, why is the opposition, along with your political party, making the case that the action here reeks of persecution, reeks of vendetta?
You see, Rahul, what we've repeatedly said is that if an agency wants to investigate corruption, we are no one to stop that agency.
Right.
But what we expect from a central agency is parity. Everybody must be investigated on the same footing with parity. Today, what is it that is worrying? That 90% of the leaders who are being prosecuted, so to say, by the central agencies are all in the opposition. Whereas you have glaring evidence against BJP leaders. Like BJP in the Central Hall circulated a leaflet saying Hemanta Biswa Sharma has taken bribes in the Louis Berger case. Now there's no investigation against him. Shubhendu Adhikari is named in Shudipto Sen's letter in the Sharda scam. There's a video of him taking money. There is no investigation. And you see, we are not saying get a politician a jacuzzi to sit in or a 5-star air-conditioned room when he or she is questioned. But you see, what happens is, you see, they are not someone who's on the run.
Yes.
He's a sitting minister in the government. You can turn up at his house 8 in the morning. You don't have to go 2 a.m. in the morning. And that applies to any citizen. You see, they're not some random dacoit or robber who's running around. For instance, in Abhishek Banerjee's wife wrote to the ED saying she's traveling abroad on a certain day. Do they have an objection? They simply ignore it for 10 days. So when she reaches the airport, you stop her there. These are the things we're talking about. We are not saying give anybody VIP treatment. If anybody is corrupt, prosecute them. Such a big scam, A. Raja, he's been acquitted. So much of hoo-ha about Robert Vadra and this land scam and that land scam, eventually nothing came out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Abhishek Banerjee is saying, please file a charge sheet, take me to jail, do whatever you have to, but stop this harassment of pressure politics against governments which are non-BJP in the state.
Okay.
It's too selective. That's what's raising the questions in the minds of the opposition.
So, Sanju Verma, that's the specific bone of contention which you need to explain. the Enforcement Directorate has a proven track record in the last few years under Mr. Modi's government of being selective in the extreme. Can you answer whether this is indicative of the fact that it has it out for opposition leaders, because the political party has it out for opposition leaders? So Senthil is collateral damage.
Now, Rahul, you asked me a very pertinent question, and I will, we are having a same debate, in the last couple of minutes. I will answer you very pointedly. First and foremost, I have said this on umpteen debates, especially on Times Now and on your show. If the TMC has ample evidence and proof, be it against Suvendu Adhikari, be it against Himanta Biswa Sarma, or even Narayan Rane, because whenever there is this corruption debate, these are the three names from BJP that keep cropping up. My simple request to you is, why don't you approach the courts and the law?
What is the ED doing?
I did not heckle you. I did not heckle you. Please have your answers.
Let her speak.
Yes.
Let her finish.
No.
You
Let
can
me
respond
finish.
to her, Ms. Dev.
Yes,
can respond.
thank you.
Yeah.
Why is it that you do not approach the law of the land rather than sulking and whining on national television about being persecuted by India's premier agencies? And Rahul, please bear with me. I have to say this to you. For 20 long years, he was first the Chief Minister of Gujarat and then the Prime Minister, and
No, that's
continues
fine.
to be
We are
so.
talking about
It was-
corruption.
Can I finish, please?
We are talking
You did
about
not heckle
corruption.
the other panelists.
We are talking
Let me
about
finish.
corruption.
Yes, so let me finish. It took 20 years for Narendra Modi to be exonerated, and even after being exonerated in June 2022 in a historic verdict, we had the opposition saying, oh, but
That's
this is not a verdict which has done justice to what happened to the victims.
You're
of
within your
2002.
rights. You're within your
I want
rights.
to say one more
But
thing.
come back to the
Rahul,
question.
please.
Come back to the
No, I
question
finish
because
in
you haven't
30
answered
seconds.
it. Sanju Verma, you haven't answered
answer
it.
your question.
Please,
Now,
be
tell me one
specific.
thing, Rahul.
I'm asking
Rahul,
you.
I'm being specific.
Selective
Rahul, can I please finish?
Action.
Can I finish?
Why?
Yes. Now, there is the Partha Chatterjee scam, Rahul. You know, they went all the way to the High Court, the Supreme Court. The proceedings were not quashed. If the case against Partha Chatterjee was weak, it would have fallen flat. Anubrata Mandal, the Bahubali of Birbhum, the case against him would have fallen flat. It has not. The case against Malay Ghatak, accused in the coal smuggling case, would have fallen flat. It has not. And most importantly, very recently, Abhishek Banerjee went to the Supreme Court saying that please ask the enforcement agencies not to interrogate me. The Supreme Court has put up the case for hearing on
There
the
is a
10th of
contradiction
July,
in what you're
but has
saying.
not given him a relief.
There's a contradiction in what you're
Supreme
saying.
Court has not given relief to Abhishek Banerjee, Rahul
So,
Shivshankar.
one second.
The case comes up for hearing
One
on
second.
the 10th of July.
Sanju
Is
ji.
Rahul Shivshankar saying that the
Sanju ji.
Supreme Court should have given relief to Abhishek Banerjee
Sanju
in
Verma.
the jobs for cash scam?
Sanju Verma, one
Why
second.
is the case coming up for hearing on 10th July?
Sanju Verma,
10th July ko doodh ka
Sanju
doodh
Verma,
ka paani
Sanju
ka
Verma,
paani
one
ka.
second. Let me step in. Let me step in. Let me step in. Let me step in. Sanju Verma, let me step in. You see, it doesn't oblige you. Now, if these cases, excuse me, if these cases have not collapsed, that means there is material to suggest that there is something that is not quite right.
Yes, but
Yes, no, one second. One second. So why are so many of these leaders in your party?
You keep questioning
If the cases were so strong, why are they in your party?
Is Abhishek Banerjee Raja?
I'm asking you, why did you take, if the case against, excuse me,
Why is Rahul Shivshankar
okay,
not
so
questioning-
hang on. Now, viewers,
questioning Abhishek Banerjee?
there are some days when the anchor gets it left, right, and center, which is a good thing, which is a very good thing.
From Senthil Balaji, but
Okay.
you made it into a debate about the ED Rahul, which is unfair.
Okay. Let me tell you, viewers, the Enforcement Directorate has a record where it is selective. There is no doubt about that. The facts speak for themselves. Dr. Ranganathan has brought those facts to the forefront. I began my intro by suggesting that. And if the opposition today chooses to say that Senthil is being targeted, once again, maybe at the instance of the Supreme Court, and we have no problems with him being investigated. Our problem is that there are other individuals in the BJP who have crossed over, but their cases have not gone anywhere. What does that tell you? malign intent. And if those cases are so strong, as Ms. Verma claims that they are, so that they haven't collapsed, why were these people even taken in? And I'm sorry, that's a legitimate question, and that will stand. You may not like it, but it's a legitimate question.
Too bad the TMC does not like it. Too bad the Congress does not like it. Too bad some members on the panel don't like it.
You can respond in that manner. You can respond in that manner. That is your prerogative. But the fact of the matter is, viewers, that today the opposition is saying two things. Why is Senthil being targeted? And he is once again an example of the larger malaise, that is that only opposition politicians are being targeted. Now, viewers, let me tell you this. The opposition should not stand in the way of this investigation. They should perhaps not make Mr. Senthil the poster boy of registering this complaint. I think they're doing themselves a disservice when the Supreme Court has already come out with large number of reasons why it should be investigated. That's point one. Secondly, the larger issue does remain that there is selective action. So BJP needs to make a better attempt at defending the one-sidedness of the Enforcement Directorate. I think that point has been made by Dr. Ranganathan, who is today, and is prominent to everybody, speaking like a member of the public, unalloyed in any which way. Dr. Ranganathan, yes, make your point. Dr. Ranganathan, go ahead. Dr. Ranganathan.
Yes, Rahul, you know me for a very long time and very used to it. I now no longer mind the labels. You can call me Sanghi, you can call me Bikawa, you can call me anything.
Monkey
but
balancer.
I will keep on stating monkey balancer, monkey, ape. I love being, metaphorized as animals. But I will speak what I believe is the truth.
Right.
Jo karna kar.
Kamruzaman Chaudhary, we have come to you in the 46th minute. Sincere apologies. Can I ask you a simple question? Is this the case on which the opposition today should be making their larger point? It's a very simple question. If you think so, sir, we'll close with your view. Unchallenged. Go ahead.
No, Rahul, basically the point out here, this is not a particular case where you should be making an example out of. But here the point that you have already debated in this issue, I just like to summarize the entire thing. The BJP cannot be claiming to be holier than thou out here. Prior to Meghalaya elections, when Amit Shah was campaigning against 60 candidates of Conrad Sangma, he claimed the most corrupt Chief Minister of India is Conrad Sangma. That's on record. But then winning 2 MLAs in Meghalaya, he allied with the same Conrad Sangma to form the government in Meghalaya. Okay. Case number 1. 10 years down the line, Rahul, you and me are on the same page waiting for that 1,76,000 crores notional loss of the 2G spectrum that India never got. Ultimately, I agree with you. Same BJP auctioned it for some 5,000 to 7,000 crores, I believe. Secondly, most importantly, what is the perception that is going out to the nation and to the world in general? That the Modi government's selective pursuit of justice against corruption is basically a witch hunt. Okay. You only stated in your show that
so here is the problem. So all opposition parties, including Mr. Chaudhary tonight, are saying it is selective. It is selective. More needs to be done.
What happened to Hemanta Biswa Sharma?
Okay, so to win the opposition's, here is the summary, viewers. To win the opposition over to the ED side, the government has to ensure that these cases are prosecuted without favor, i.e., viewers, that when there are people who are corrupt in the BJP ranks, they themselves are also prosecuted, brought to justice, externed from the BJP, as the case may be, and not certainly courted by them. That's basically what it's coming down to. I leave it to you, viewers, to think whether that is an apt argument or not. I don't have a view on it. I think it's an important argument in the larger context. The specific context we have already debated. I think everyone is agreed here that they have no problems with the probe going into this gentleman, Mr. Senthil. So if that's the case, at least that part is resolved. The larger question remains unanswered. I need to very quickly, viewers, talk about